Hello, everyone, and welcome into Coach Craig Sports. This is the MLB DFS video. This is the MLB DFS Core Pick video, Core Pick live stream for today, Monday, May 1st. If you're joining me for the very first time, typically what I'd like to do is start off with a recap of yesterday's picks. Obviously, have not made a video since Thursday. So at this point in time, there will be no recap. We're going to get into the weather report for today's games. It's a 6-game main slate overall. Typically on the FanDuel site is where I cover. If you guys have questions about DraftKings as well, leave it down in the comments and I can answer them at that point in time. If you guys have any questions at all during this live stream, during this video, if you're watching on replay, feel free to either leave them in the live chat or down in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. But for what we'll be focusing on in today's video, today's live stream, weather report in terms of the games, anything that could be affecting some of these games in general, which there's a few spots today. Going over to FanDuel, talking about the core picks, and then going over to my cheat sheet. That's up on the YouTube community page. It's also up on Twitter. It's up on Facebook, and it's up on the Patreon page as well. Talking about the top stacks or top teams to stack for GPP purposes for today. But without further ado, we'll get started with the weather report for today. So the games that we're looking at this point in time doesn't look like anything too crazy, but the Yankees game, there is a pretty good chance of rain, so this game has a chance of being delayed. Then we have the Nationals and Cubs game, so that one's in Washington. There's a decent chance of rain there, maybe a delay. Let's see. Toronto and Boston looks pretty good at this point in time. The Astros are in a dome, so we're not worried there. Padres, a small chance of rain, so that could be something that affects it. We'll keep an eye on that one throughout the day. And then the Dodgers game looks like a pretty decent chance of rain. So nothing that looks like postponement, at least at this point in time. But if anything does change in that regard, we will leave it down in the comments below. So definitely be sure to follow up on that as the day progresses along. So that's kind of the quick little rundown on the weather. We're going to get off of there. We'll go over to FanDuel and talk about the core picks that I do have for today. So we're going to share this real quick as the FanDuel screen comes up. So pitcher position today, there is quite a few different options that you could go today. Mackenzie Gore, Jose Barrios, and Luis Garcia ended up being the three that are in my cheat sheet. There's a couple other guys that you could end up playing. Mix and match in pitcher today does make a lot of sense since there's no real standouts. For the core pick, I went with Jose Barrios just because he is the cheapest of the three that ended up in my cheat sheet. He's $8,800. He's made 3 pretty good starts as of late, so some of the stuff starting to look a little bit better once again. Obviously, he is a little bit risky play as we've seen in the last couple of years. He's not been his normal self. If that curveball is working today against that Boston team, looks pretty good. He's got decent history versus them in the past. Last year, he had 3 starts versus them, 34 points, 31 points, and 43 points. Obviously, we want him to get closer to that 40-point threshold just in general. But if you want to play him today, if you want to play Luis Garcia, those would probably be my 2 favorites. Mackenzie Gore does have some pretty good upside against the Cubs as well. Then we're going to move down to first base with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He was kind of my last hitter in the core picks today. I like this Toronto stack quite a bit going against Corey Kluber. A lot of these guys have really good history versus him. So I was kind of between him and Bo Bichette. I don't mind playing both in the same lineup whatsoever. But Vladimir Guerrero Jr., 5 for 9 with 1 home run versus Corey Kluber in his career. If we want to click at some of his recent game logs, we can do that as well, which is something that I typically do for the core picks if you are joining me for the very first time. So let's see, obviously, you got the high-end upside with Vladimir Guerrero. He doesn't give you too many zero performances out of the way, but, at that price tag of $4,300, you're looking for at least double-digit points on tonight's slate overall. And I like this game a little bit more in terms of stacking just because there is not that weather possibility. But, if some of these other games get delayed or rained out, obviously there's going to be more people flocking to Toronto overall. Then we move down to third base with his teammate Matt Chapman. He's $4,200. He's actually had an incredibly hot start to the season. He's 5 for 5 with 2 home runs in his career versus Corey Kluber, which is about as good as you can get. So when you got history like that, when you're been hitting as well as Matt Chapman has been hitting to start off the year, obviously you see the 3.84 average there, 5 home runs, 21 RBIs, and even the most recent games have been all pretty good too. Let's see, he's got like a 7-game hitting streak, more than that at this point in time. So definitely like Matt Chapman once again tonight. The upside that he does present, obviously the price tag is probably one of the higher price tags you're going to see on him all season, but at this point in time, he's definitely worth that price tag. Then we move down to the outfield with Trent Grisham. He is $2,800. He is also 5 for 9 with 2 home runs in his career versus Luke Weaver, who's the pitcher for Cincinnati Reds today. I like the upside that Grisham does offer just in general. Obviously, he's a little bit more hit or miss hitter too. He's been hitting towards the bottom of the lineup once again since the Fernando Tatis did come back. Obviously, you'll see some hit or miss to his game. Not the greatest as of late, but he had that multi-hit game 2 games ago. He's one of those guys, though. Sometimes he really pops up when he has good history versus a certain pitcher that he is facing on any given day. So, do like the upside there. Price tag's not too bad at $2,800. Definitely somebody you could swap off of if you wanted to do so, but a little bit cheaper option just in general today. And then last but not least, typically I don't like doing this where I'm playing like two of the same position and forcing one into the utility for the core picks. But Manny Machado just really stood out to me today. He's starting to hit the ball a little bit better. Obviously, he's only $3,000 because he's had his struggles to start the year. Obviously, 2 home run game 2 nights ago. 2 multi-hit games 2 days in a row there. Starting to turn around just a little bit overall, but obviously you saw the slow start to the season, but he is 7 for 18 with 2 home runs versus Luke Weaver in his career, so it's a pretty good matchup for him. Still that cheap price tag, still offers that same type of upside, obviously, which we saw as recently as 2 days ago, so definitely like Manny Machado, and hopefully hitting rather well today and kind of starting to turn things around just in general. So those are the 4 hitters that I do have, as well as Jose Barrios. If you guys want to see Jose Barrios's game logs, 4 recent games, we'll take a look at them real quick too. So he's had 3 decent starts as of late. Strikeouts haven't quite been there as much, but if that curveball's working, that's where you're getting some more of those strikeouts. It could be a pretty good matchup versus Boston, as I did already mention. But with that being said, we're going to close out of the FanDuel side. We'll go over to the cheat sheet up on YouTube and talk about the top GPP stacks that I do have in terms of teams for today. So overall, I did list 4 here. There's 2 that are really standing out to me today in the Blue Jays and the Padres, but I also have the Astros and the Dodgers listed as well. Going through it, the Blue Jays, they have incredibly good history versus Corey Kluber in the past. So typically that would lean in a very good favor for them. Kluber has not been very good to start the season as well. So I definitely like them quite a bit. Obviously, if they get on him, then they get to Boston's bullpen, which is, middle of the pack, if that, this season. So definitely like the Blue Jays today, but when you're looking at the Blue Jays perspective, obviously we got 2 guys in our core picks already with Matt Chapman and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Both have very strong history. Bo Bichette has good history. Alejandro Kirk has good history. And George Springer has some pretty good history as well. Whit Merrifield too. So a lot of history there versus Corey Kluber. A lot of these guys have hit him pretty well in the past. Then we move over to the Astros, and they are going against Ross Stripling today, who's not pitched too deep into games so far this season. Obviously, he's been kind of going back between being a starting pitcher and in a bullpen role. So not sure how many innings he's going to be able to pitch. The Astros lineup does have some upside just in general there. A couple of these guys have some decent success versus him, mainly Alex Bregman and Jose Abreu, but not too much else there. Definitely worth it. Kind of taking a stab on some of these guys just in general. And Bregman's, I believe, $2,900 today, which is pretty cheap price for him overall. Obviously been a slower start to the year for him, but he's typically a guy that starts a little bit slower as well. Then we move over to the San Diego Padres. A lot of these guys have very good history versus Luke Weaver. Obviously, we highlighted Manny Machado and Trent Grisham in the core picks. And then Jake Cronenworth's got some pretty good history versus him as well as Fernando Tatis. I threw Juan Soto up there too because I had $3,400. The type of upside that he can just offer on any given slate is pretty incredible as well. So that's definitely a team that we like stacking, especially if that game goes off. And then we got the Dodgers going against Taijuan Walker, who's dealing with a little bit of a forearm injury. It appears to be fine, but we'll see how that affects him today. Just in general, obviously, if this game is able to go off, there is obviously that chance of delay. Or, if the rain gets pretty bad, then even postponement. But like some of the Dodgers bats there's a little bit of hit or miss history just against Taijuan Walker in general. So keep that in mind as the day moves along. But some pretty good upside there with that Dodgers team. Mookie Betts is one of the hitters that has hit Taijuan Walker the best in his career. I believe he's 5 for 10 versus him. So if you guys are interested in any more notes like that, hitter versus pitcher matchups, my thoughts on each individual pitcher and stuff like that, that is up on my Patreon page, patreon.com/Coach Craig Sports. Links also down in the description of this video as well. Small monthly donation over there, $5 a month, $1.25 a week, essentially, to get some additional resources, some additional information. But once again, the cheat sheet is 100% free. That is up on Facebook. It's up on YouTube. It's up on Twitter. Probably forgetting another place that it's up on, but definitely be sure to check that out. Just in general, if you guys have any additional questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments. I'll get back to you as quickly as possible, or reach out to me on Twitter at Coach Greg Sport, and I'd be more than happy to help you as well. But with that being said, that's pretty much what I have in terms of the live stream for today for the MLB DFS Core Pick videos. Once again, if you guys have any questions whatsoever, feel free to leave them down in the comments, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Also, be sure to let me know your favorite play for the day down in the comments as well. Definitely appreciate you guys checking this video out, whether you're watching live or on replay. And then with that being said, if you are brand new to my channel, checking it out for the very first time, would appreciate it if you do subscribe. If you enjoy the content that I am putting out, definitely means a lot to me. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now, it's primarily MLB DFS and USFL DFS. So that's what we got going on right now. Tomorrow, I'll also be doing an NFL draft grade live stream. I'm going to just go through breaking down each pick, each team. If that's something you guys are interested in, be sure to check that out, whether it's live or on replay as well. But that's pretty much what's going on at this point in time. Also, be sure to hit that notification bell if you haven't done so already, so you never miss a beat anytime that I do post up a video, whether it is live or pre-recorded. Definitely do appreciate all the support from everybody, whether you're watching live or on replay once again. And do hope that each and every one of you have a great rest of your day and some pretty good luck in MLB DFS tonight.